They're often the last word in criminal cases, and they can help protect the innocent. Then again, sometimes they feel like a bit of an invasion of privacy. Regardless of your feelings on CCTV, one thing is for certain. Every once in a while, they catch something truly unforgettable. Today we're going to be looking at 10 of those weird things caught on security cameras and CCTV. Let's begin, shall we? Number 10. Valentine's Day Boom. Valentine's Day is supposed to be a time for romance, flowers, and chocolates. Unless you're single, then it's just a sad day. But CCTV cameras were rolling along the beautiful Chao Phraya River walkways on Valentine's Day in 2016. On that day, it became the scene of a phenomenal incident that shook Bangkok. Just before 6:30 a.m., a container ship named Zitha Boom collides with the pathway, slowly devouring everything it touches. While an effort was immediately undertaken to repair the area, the crash left quite a destructive aftermath in its wake. But it also left us with this unbelievable video footage. Number 9. Glass Act. This CCTV footage was captured on March 31st, 2013. This is in a mall in Perth, Australia, and we see a would-be thief clutching an expensive handbag as he flees from the scene. Perhaps he had intended to sell the purse to get money for glasses because he completely misses the automatic door and collides full speed with a large pane of commercial glass. In other words, a very solid window. The man is immediately knocked unconscious and collapses to the ground, still clutching the bag. At first, funnily enough, several bystanders come to his aid, not realizing that he was in fact fleeing the scene. After a little while, the situation has become clear, and a large burly man restrains him until police arrive. Needless to say, he remained pretty dazed, and it was fairly easy for police to restrain him despite his weak objections. Number 8. Alaskan Lawyer Mystery. Back over in 2018, a woman named Nicole was working alone in the law office one evening when a man dressed in all black appears in the window where he stands for a short time before entering the office. Once inside, he talks to Nicole, and after a few moments, she pulls out a gun that the firm keeps for protection, a common practice in the area. But suddenly, the man in black gestures with his hand, and Nicole appears to robotically turn and lay the gun down on the counter. The man then instructs her to retrieve a camera from her purse, and she complies, taking the camera and following the mysterious man out of the building. When other employees returned the next day, they found her purse left behind, the gun on the counter, and the doors unlocked. Nicole had simply walked away at the instruction of this stranger. As it turns out, Nicole would resurface later in the week with an incredible story. She recounted being taken to a plain room where people seemed to communicate via telepathy, and where she was rendered completely motionless. Her capturers had questioned her about a camping trip she had been on recently. During an early morning hike, Nicole had come across a cave with stalactites dangling from the ceiling. Nicole took a bunch of photographs, and it was this experience that the men wanted to know about. After telling them everything she could, they injected her with a shot that according to them would wipe out her memory, but when she woke, she had perfect recollection of the entire thing. She later discussed the encounter in detail over the course of an hour-long interview with Apex TV. So either Nicole is one devoted liar with nothing to gain, or this strange video chronicles a real-life case of high-level intelligence activity, far more Men in Black and SCP. We may never know. Number 7. Unwelcome Roommate. Joe Cummings and his girlfriend were a fun-loving young couple who had a penchant for playing practical jokes on one another. So one day when food started mysteriously vanishing, Joe asked his girlfriend if she was behind it, but she swore up and down that she wasn't. Still, her denial wasn't too unusual considering the two of them often pulled pranks on one another. Determined to catch her in the act though, he picked up a cheap camera and installed it in a hidden location, but what he captured was way more than he expected. At the beginning of the video, we see Joe turning it on and walking away. For several hours, nothing noteworthy happens, but in the middle of the night, an adult woman can be seen descending from a crawl space in the ceiling and making herself right at home. She drinks juice straight out of a jug in his fridge, urinates in his sink, steals some food, and then relaxes in the living room. All the while, Joe and his girlfriend were asleep in the very next room. At one point in the video, Joe even gets up to grab a drink from the kitchen, and the woman is forced to scramble and hide. After Joe returns to bed, she makes her careful retreat back into the ceiling. The following day, when he saw the contents of the video, Joe fled his apartment and phoned the police, who arrived a short time later and arrested the woman after a lengthy search. Number 6. The Old Switcheroo. In this phenomenal video, we see a woman at a gas station who was fueling up her white SUV when a black Cadillac pulls up nearby. A man suddenly jumps from the vehicle and scrambles into her truck intent on stealing it. When the woman sees what is happening, she leaps on the hood, begging the man to stop, but he won't, and he drives forward trying to shake her off the hood. As he does reach the main road, the thief obviously has a change of heart, deciding that he isn't quite hard enough to turn car theft into murder, and he runs back to the Cadillac, leaving the woman atop the truck drifting into traffic. Fortunately, the SUV comes to a stop shortly afterwards, and the shaken woman is able to get down and reclaim her vehicle. Number 5. Supernatural Catch. Frankly, most of us probably become pretty complacent and lackluster after having the same job for too long, especially if your work is particularly repetitive. This can lead people to pay less attention and to make more mistakes. Unfortunately for employers, this can lead to lower productivity and far more injuries. However, everybody loses their flair after a few years on the job, and the forklift operator in this video is an excellent example of someone who is still sharp after a few years on the job. This dedicated worker at Noble Ale Works is unloading a pallet of empty kegs from the back of a truck when one begins to wobble. That is when he awakens his inner ninja and does something almost unthinkable. As one of the kegs goes plummeting towards the ground, his hand shoots out to provide the keg with a soft and graceful landing. Watching this video, we can conclude 2 things. Number 1, this man is quite possibly superhuman, and 2, hopefully that keg was empty. Either way, employee of the friggin' year there. Number 4. Tumbling Toddler. 7 postal workers in Ninghai County, China were taking a coffee break when they suddenly noticed a baby on the 5th floor of a nearby apartment building dangling perilously from a window. The little girl's mother and father had left her sleeping while they went to a nearby drugstore to get her medication. While they were gone, she woke up and went looking for her parents. Unfortunately, she soon found herself dangling precariously from the window. This is when the postal workers got into position. Seconds later, the young girl went plummeting toward the ground, but thankfully the workers were there to break her fall. Thanks to the quick thinking of these men, the young girl walked away with just a small cut on her face and recovered quickly. Meanwhile, her parents have vowed never to leave their little girl unattended again. This is a particularly smart decision, as they may have very well lost her that day if not for the action of the nearby postal workers. Number 3. Cop Car Thief. Our number 3 entry may be one of the strangest and most daring things I've seen captured by a security camera. It goes without saying that police cars occasionally get stolen or vandalized, and that's part of the reason why they often have multiple security cameras mounted inside of them. Considering most police cars are stolen by opportunistic joyriders, this acts as a pretty good deterrent, but one shoplifter in Lufkin, Texas decided to make her own opportunity. First, she skillfully slips out of her cuffs, then she quickly makes her way into the front seat before peeling off. Next, she leads police on a dangerous chase, but it isn't long before she crashes and is apprehended. After the incident, Lufkin police installed barriers in all vehicles, and as for the woman, she was sentenced to an astounding 45 years in prison. Most deservedly, I say. Now it's time for the day's best pick. My pick for today may be one of the strangest videos we have seen today. Number 2. Hamburglar. In this strange video, we see a woman pull up to the drive-thru window of a McDonald's location in Columbia, Maryland. The only problem is that it's 4 o'clock in the morning and the location is closed. Not the type to be easily deterred, she first tries to pour herself a drink by prying open the window and reaching inside. Not satisfied with just the beverage, she decides to supersize her felony by climbing through the window, and then helps herself to $1,400 in food and Happy Meal toys. Within a few days, a search began for this haphazard hamburglar, and a woman named Jessica Cross turned herself over to authorities. Just $1,400 in food. How much did she eat?
I saved the best for last, but first, I have a quick challenge that takes only 5 seconds to complete. If you can leave a like and subscribe within the next 5 seconds, you'll get 10 years of amazing luck. Just try it, it really works.
Number 1. Tim Sturd. This next video is another incident at a fast food restaurant. However, in this case, the restaurant was open. At a Tim Hortons restaurant in Langley, British Columbia, Canada's CCTV captured a woman demanding that staff members allow her to use the washroom. After having previous issues with the woman, the worker denied her access, and that is when she became enraged, and after a quick shouting match with the staff, she anchors herself against a nearby wall and begins to defecate directly in front of the till. Ew. If things weren't bad enough at this point, she picks up her feces and flings it over the counter. Ew. Then, just to prove she isn't a monster, she grabs serviettes from the counter and begins cleaning herself up. That would be nice, I suppose, if it hadn't been when she finished with the napkins. Well, you guessed it, she pitched them over the counter. The woman was well known to police in the area and was arrested a short while later, but shockingly she was given a court date and released, but it remains unknown whether she was ever sentenced and where she is now. For being so creative with a number 2, this creative video comes in at number 1. What was your favorite surveillance footage in today's videos? Have you ever been caught doing something strange on CCTV? Let us know in the comments down below. With all that said and done, I hope you all have a great day and I will see you all next time. Later, everybody.